hello everyone. Good morning once again. So, what do you think about ethics? Let's begin from there, and then I hope you have understood the plan, so we don't need to get in over there, right? First, give me a little feedback from your side. What do you think ethics is, and what do you understand about it? Then we'll venture deeper into it. There are a few points that I would like to discuss because this is the first time that we are meeting, and once we are through with that, we'll see how you can pick up the doubts and your confusions in ethics later on. So please tell me, what do you think ethics is? Please type in comments. Come on, Dakshika, Shiva, please type. I can see future officers from here. I want to see their comments as well. Even in case if you do not know what it is, please you can feel free to write that. Feel free to write that. Anju, you are in library, but you can also participate. Please write. Ethics is the rights and wrongs in the human behavior. How they behave with others around them morally. All right. So then the next question comes that what is the difference between ethics and morality? Or is there a difference between ethics and morality? Responsible of Responsibility of civil servants to be moral, neutral, emotionally balanced in public services. Fine. So what do you mean by why do you say responsibility of civil servants? Why not responsibility of a common man? Apart from you being a part of the civil services preparation, apart from that, why is it so important? All right, so there are these intrigues, these are very fundamental intrigues. Once we start climbing the ladder of understanding how ethics is, what ethics is, there are a lot of myths that we are going to break. There are a lot of things which we are going to understand. So, for that purpose, today I would like to dedicate the time in understanding the certain things regarding the nature of the subject, regarding the scope, regarding most importantly, what mindset should you have in order to grasp this subject in its entirety. Because ultimately, everything is going to culminate in examination. If you get high marks or not, that is the most fundamental thing. Unfortunately, what happens is lack of guidance on this particular subject and lack of understanding on this topic leads one to be more confused than ever. By your responses, I can probably understand that this is the first time you would be doing ethics. Please type yes or no in the comment section. Anju has written ethics is a study of what a person. One second. What a person should or should not do. All right, just a second. Some technical thing going on. All right. So ethics is the study of what a person should or should not do. Fine. So other people, is this the first time you guys are doing ethics? Dakshika is doing it for the first time. Shiva, what about you? Anju, what about you? Yes, yes. Anju also haven't studied ethics properly. So actually, if you realize, that's a very good place to start with, because over last so many years, my experience has told that even people who have gotten the ranks but not a higher rank, ethics was a major problem. And when I had personally worked with them, the first thing that I had to do was I had to make them unlearn about the things. I had to make them unlearn. Lot of confusions, lot of myths which are there. And yes, they were able to score higher after that. But not that I am taking the credit of their success, they have the credit of their success, but the idea is that there are a lot of confusions which happen. The more you think, the more it becomes confusing. And the lack of guidance on that makes it even more unclear. I'll give you a very simple example. Now, these two things are often confused very much. Tell me if my voice distorts or anything happens, all right? So, where are we? Huh. Today we will not delve deeper into this. All right. We are not going to delve deeper into this, but at least we are going to understand something about it, which is what do you think the difference between ethics and morality is? Just one word answer you can tell me. Since you are in your purest form, I believe regarding ethics, I believe that you would be able to answer it right. How many of you think at least tell me that there is a difference between ethics and morality? People whose video are on, you can simply raise your hand. Do you think there is a difference? There is a difference. All right, Dakshika thinks so. Anju, you are not visible, so you please type your comment. Shiva, do you think there is a difference? Raise your hand in case if you think so. No problem, we'll make it faster then. Yes, yes, all right. There is no fundamental difference between ethics and morality. Now you keep reading as many number of books as you want. You keep doing whatever you have to. You keep researching on the topic, and after probably 2 or 3 years, you will also reach on the same conclusion that ethics and morality have no fundamental difference between them. The simple way to understand this is, and I've on YouTube itself, I have made 3 videos on the same topic. Still, people ask that teachers and faculties are telling that ethics and morality are different. I'll ask you a very simple question. Let's say, Shiva, you are going on the road, you find an auto wala who charges you more than what he should charge, and you call him immoral. Similarly, let's say Dakshika and Anju, you guys are going somewhere, and the rickshaw guy drops you before the destined location. You call that person unethical. What do you think your meaning is by saying these words, using these words? Yes, Anju, I know. But don't worry, we'll deal with that as well. So once you read Ethica, you will that this topic would be completely clear. But right now, just tell me, what do you mean by calling them immoral or unethical? Anju, go ahead, type. That he has not done the proper work he was assigned to do as per the case you mentioned, all right. So basically, you are trying to call him out on his wrongness, right? You're trying to tell that he is not right, he is not good. That is not a good thing. He did the wrong thing, right? That is what we are trying to identify. Is it same in both the cases or not? Or is it different? Are you trying to tell something else by immoral and by moral, by ethical, unethical? What are you trying to say? You are conveying the same message or not? Yes? When you are conveying the same message, that means fundamentally there is no difference, because what happens is when we try to tell ethics and morality are different, right? That means fundamentally if they are different, ethics cannot be what morality is, and morality cannot be what ethics is. If they can be what each other are, then they are not different. Right or wrong? But with this very practical example, which you often do, which often happens, you would call somebody ethical sometimes, sometimes you would call somebody immoral, you would call somebody moral. So all these things ultimately boil down to what? That fundamental difference does not exist between them. That means both of them indicate about the rightness or wrongness of an action. That is the precise point or the concise area where these both work as. I'll just mark it. Both talk about right and wrong. Both talk about only right and wrong, nothing else. But how can a subject be made on some only merely right and wrong? What nonsense is that? Isn't it? Appears to be a very simple question. But if I ask you to think about a time when you did wrong and probably nobody knew about it, and you don't have to tell anyone and you don't have to tell here, but just think about it, the time that you did wrong. Is that thought comforting or is that thought still disturbing? Of you, when you have realized that you have done wrong, does that thought discomfort you? Right? Yes or no? If it discomforts you, right? Yes. If no, it disturbs, right? And so much so, and see, nobody knows about it. I can see only few people, and few people I cannot even see. But in your heart, in your emotions, you can still feel it, right? Your mental state changes with that. Why is that happening? Because there was a judgment regarding that action to be not right. How powerful is it? Isn't it? And there might be certain times, certain places, certain areas where you still would not be able to understand whether it is right or wrong. If you are able to understand something as right or wrong, you would not be confused, you would not be bothered about it. If you know that it is right, you are happy. If you know it is not right, then you would be sad about it. At least you will be confused. It will keep disturbing you continuously. Tomorrow, if you realize that what you did was right and everybody would vouch for you on that, would you still be disturbed? No, you would not be disturbed anymore. The idea is, see how deep and powerful it goes, that a thing which nobody knows about, but we know that it is wrong, and we have decided that that particular action is immoral or unethical. At such times, we don't let it go. Even we don't let it go even when nobody knows. So this is to tell you the potency of the paper, potency of the subject, not the paper, potency of the subject. So this discipline is that. Now, if we talk a little more on the same plane and we try to extend the whole thing, you will reach to another thing. What do you think? Capital punishment, is it right or wrong? Just don't answer in statements, just write yes or wrong, yes or no. Write yes for it is right and write no for it is wrong. Yes or no, write in comments. Is capital punishment everybody knows, when you sentence death for a person. Yes, everybody please respond. Yes, no, it is not right. All right, let's take the cue from here itself. So one person says it is not right, one person says it is right. It depends. Yeah, everything depends. But then depends will make the subject very fluid, Dakshika. But not a problem. We'll deal with that as well, because ultimately it will reach there at some point. Initially, we'll have to take it differently. So your question has made me write one more point that also we'll discuss today. What did you say? Temperament also we'll discuss. All right. So when you say, now you people are preparing for civil services, there is a high likelihood that both of you become IAS of and district collector of different districts, right? When the and then I can also say that it would be safe to assume that you are one of the sharpest brains in a way in India to have reached that feat. Though don't never let your judgment depend on that, it does not matter. But otherwise, I can say that safely. So when two sharpest brain sitting in the same class, sitting in the same place, are not ready to agree on whether it is right, whether it is wrong. How do you think it is easy for the whole world, billions of people, to decide if it is right or wrong? Think over it. So what basically happens is, whenever we come with an ethical notion, if capital punishment is right, or if euthanasia is right, if what is right, what is wrong, if we come to that, there is a discourse on that, right? Different people support different things. Now what happens is, the academia and the intellectuals, or let's say people who are into moral philosophy, or people who can logically argue to a very higher level, higher plane, these people all get together and they discuss that what is it. So probably let's take the example from here. Let's say Dakshika and Shiva, you both are debating about it. So you will come with arguments, and not like the contemporary social media arguments. They are nonsense. But the kind of argument which a future IAS would do. So you would put a constructive argument. The other person would put a constructive argument. Now, when both of you are putting a constructive argument, what would happen is, you will come up with better and better reason to support your cause. In the wake of that, the strength of your argument is going to go high. At the same time, you would be better. Let's say if one person's arguments comes out as a clear winner, right? In that case, the person's argument are either to be denied by stronger arguments, or we'll understand that fine, this is right or this is wrong. But if that was the case, do you think I'll ask that question in the class? If we would have come to an agreement, would I ever ask that capital punishment is right or wrong? Then we would have known, no, it is right or wrong. So the idea which tells that it is nothing, it is a simple thing between right and wrong and easy to find out, even when we see at a personal level or we see at a global level, it can be felt to be easy, but it is to be realized that it is extremely complex. That is why I have taken up certain points that we would be discussing today. So we have not yet started. That's how deep ethics goes. All right, I'll just tell you briefly what are we going to discuss today. Meanwhile, in case if you have any doubts, please note it down. Please tell me in case if you have any doubts. Should I change the slide? I'll take it as a yes. So we are going to discuss majorly 6 things. One is the nature of the subject. How is it, right? And we are not discussing the nature only in one sense. We are discussing it in a broad sense so that we are able to better comprehend the subject as well as better write the answers. All right. Next, we are going to see the requirement of the knowledge base. I am just writing the keywords from that. I am not writing the preceding word or the next word. All right. Then the kind of mindset that would be required. Next would be the temperament of both the paper as well as the way your mindset is to be tuned. Then we'll talk about how to read Ethica so that we get the maximum out of it. And the last point we'll discuss how to collect the doubts, or how to get the best resolution of our doubts. These are the 6 things that we are going to discuss. All right. What is the nature of the paper and how do you need to move for it? What is the level of knowledge that you would need to have? Okay. What is the kind of mindset and temperament? Then how to get the maximum out of Ethica, and then the how you can get the best resolution of your doubts. So we'll start from the nature. Not necessarily that you write it down. In case if you feel like you write it down. But this is basically how to move for the subject so that you are able to, get better in that. It is not only about accumulation of knowledge. It is about having your own perspective, reproduce. Not, it's not about reproduction. It's about presenting an opinion on a solid opinion on the thing which is asked in the examination. So it requires a lot of work on your perspective. It requires a lot of mental work as well, and it requires the handiness of information, not only the knowledge, handiness of information and the depth of the content. So all these things would be required. See, Anju, there are the lectures are not there separately, but you will be getting a book in which everything is explained in detail. That is, you'll be getting this book. So with that, you can read it. Every concept is explained. But at the same time, even then, in case if you have a doubt, you can always ask it in the live session. So that's why I've kept it as the last and most important part, that how your doubts are going to be handled. So nothing is missed out. All right, I'm going to be there with you. हो सकता है एकदम it won't be very regular, but I'll keep meeting you very periodically. तो मैं तभी मैं ये चीज़ को मैंने अलग से रखा है, and it is quite important as well कि कैसे आपके doubts का best निकल के आ सके. फिर भी अगर कुछ बचेगा तो don't worry, we are not going to leave your hand like that. So you don't have to be fearless about it. All right, all right. So let's begin with the nature. What is the nature of the paper? A bit of the glimpse of the nature of ethics we already saw in the initial discussion, introductory discussion that we had, right? Now, based upon that, we are able to realize that the idea does not revolve merely around the sense of right and wrong. It is way beyond that. Because what is more important now, what we are discussing, nature. What is more important then right and wrong is why it is right and why it is wrong. For example, if we talk about capital punishment or euthanasia or any other ethical or moral issue for that matter, it does not really matter what your stand is. What really matters is why do you say that stand? Why do you take the name of that stand? Why not something else? So always remember, more important is not where you stand, but why you stand where you stand. All right. So we can also mark it as why behind where. You can write it in your own words, but what is more important, why you are saying what you are saying. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'll give you a prudential example, not a moral example. But let's say you have to go to some place A to B, which is, let's say you are going from place A to place B, right? And the distance is between them is 500 kilometers. You have availability of everything, right? You have flight from A to B. You have the money to pay for the flight. You have the money to pay for the train, right? You have all those things. This is a non-moral example. It does not include morality, but with this example, it would be clear. Now, what would you take? Option one is, would you take flight? Is it better? Or you would take train? Is this better? What would you take? Which is better? Right? Which is better and why? In one line. Don't show me the boarding pass and all, but write in one line. हाँ, budget तो है शिवा. Don't worry, you have the budget. So the only information is this only. So that is another good point that you have brought up. Whatever information is given to you, that is the whole information. So that information is not given if you have to reach early or late. You are at your own disposal. Flight. Why, Anju? And Dakshika, let's say you have time in your hand. Better convenience. All right. Shiva, what do you have to say? Your budget is approved. Please tell whether you are taking flight or train. Anju, right? Why would you take flight? Time can be saved, and you have to prepare for civil services, right? Shiva, please write whether you will take a flight or whether you will take a train. If you able to spend to flight, you have to. If you are unable to pay for this too early, don't bring if in between. That will distort the whole premise of the question itself. Understood? Because how the can we build upon a question when we make true of the premise, and the premise is that you have the budget. So don't worry about the budget. It's a fully paid trip. You don't have to worry about the budget. IS Setu is paying for your flight. Don't worry. See, everybody is smiling on that. Fine, fine. Don't worry. But let's say it is sponsored. Then you'll take. Now, if let's say if I increase the distance to let's say 1,000 kilometer, and you are not preparing for civil services as well, that means time is not as important. But if in case if you feel that time is you wrote very fast when I said IS Setu is sponsoring your trip, you wrote flight, plain and simple. Very nice, very nice. I like that decisiveness. Anyway, so the thing is that when you talk about lack of time, or sorry, time is not the most important criteria over there. Still, you can figure time as one of the constructs which can change your decision. So now, if it is 1,000 kilometer, what would you take? What is right to take? Flight, same flight. 1,000 kilometer, there will be a different flight, no, Dakshika? The answer is same. You meant to say that. We need- Clarity in words is very important. Expression is very important. Anju also flight. All right, flight. So everybody has a reason to tell that the most important thing that is coming out over here is whether it is 500 kilometers or 1,000 kilometers. It is about the time. Am I right? It is about time. Right. If I ask you, what about experiences? Did anyone of you figure that out? You wouldn't be able to study as well or read as well as you can do in train. You wouldn't be able to have those experiences. You wouldn't be able to slow your life down in such kind of havoc which is created in contemporary times, and probably spend a better time to yourself in 1,000 kilometer journey when you go by train. If you don't figure that out, then what is life made of ultimately? Time or experiences? तभी तो wise people say कि it is not about the quantity of life that you have, it is about the quality of life that you have. It is not the number of years that you live, but the life that you lived in those number of years. Right? What is that made of? What does that mean? Experiences. So now what happened? I have made you second guess about your thought. And now you are having counter thoughts at the same time. That fine, maybe experiences are important. So what we did over here, basically it does not matter whether you are going by flight or train, that's the point. But the idea is, what is your argument about it? Time is a strong argument, but we have to go a step ahead and think of that, why can't train be a good journey? So the best way to do that is that you start. So now we'll be talking about these 6 things that we spoke about over here, but it might be intermixed, right? So I'll keep telling you that we are on this here, we are on this here. So don't worry about that, all right? So your mindset should always be that, why are we taking this option and why are we not taking the other option? And this practice you need to do at home. This practice you would need to do at home. Just a second. Am I visible? All right, all right. Hmm. Fine. So where were we? Visible and audible, right? Not a problem over there. Right, right. So where were we? Please remind me. Experiences. Yes, yes. Experiences. So we were in experience. So that's how you have to think as well, that whenever you're thinking about a particular option, you don't have to be blind about it. You also think about the other option. Because if you're not thinking about the other option, your arguments will always be very restricted and very rigid. Let's say if somebody asks you, a friend of yours who you are close to, and say that no, the experiences like time is not the only criteria, would you not have fought over that in case if you were very rigid about it? Yes, you would have. So the idea is to break that chain so that our mindset develops more in the line of constructive argument, where the strength of argument increases. And it will happen only by introducing ourselves to more to greater scope of knowledge, as well as with openness towards constructive ideas and arguments of other people. Even if you have to refute somebody, even in such case, the fundamental thing is that refuting alone will not matter. Why are you refuting the other person will matter. See, off the track, I would like to tell you this subject is a beautiful subject, and if you read it in the spirit of the subject, in the nature of the subject, then your life will alter, irrespective of civil servant or not civil servant. It is a different thing, but your life will alter. That's how beautiful the subject is. But the mindset required for this subject is, and the temperament we'll discuss in a moment, but the mindset required is openness towards arguments, not lame arguments, not stupid arguments, not uh, uncalled for arguments, not desperate arguments, only constructive arguments, so that we grow on that level. Jैसे don't become Samvit Patra or Arnab Goswami. The idea is that be what you are and make it more constructive, where things are debated, not merely argued. So whenever the word argument is there, always remember, in philosophy we are always talking about a constructive argument. We are talking about progressive argument, and this is, if this is a part of philosophy or not, that we'll see. Now we spoke about two things over here, one of which we discussed, and the other thing is I used the word knowledge. All right, which we have mentioned over here as well. Knowledge. What does knowledge do? This subject, again, now listen to this carefully. You don't have to be worried about it, because it's not a problem if you are reading it for the first time. But in order to understand any topic, any issue, anything, or you even to make a moral judgment, you would need to go at a very fundamental and a very deep level. Having said that, it is important to realize that the level of knowledge that you require for ethics and to more precisely execute it is more of a is of a higher order. It's not like other subjects. So let's say if you are reading polity or history, I'm not trying to discount other subjects. They have their own importance, and without them, the whole system falls. But the thing is, without this, the whole nation and the whole global community falls. So when something is, the backbone can be a system, but if a system is corrupt, there is not much to it. And when we call it corrupt, it is basically being unethical or being immoral. So the idea over here is that when you talk about this subject and when you try to learn about this subject, the knowledge base needs to be a little broader. The broader it is, apart from the understanding of ethics, if you are very proficient in the understanding of ethics itself, even then you can apply the same things in different areas and different disciplines. But to let's say recently I made this video on vote chori in on YouTube, right? So in that also what we discussed was that how Article 326 is undermined, and how what is being provisioned under Article 324 is not fulfilling its function, right? So when we discussed that, I had to have the knowledge of Article 326 or Article 324. The liberty that I have is that I can see it, open the constitution and see. Though I remember these are very normal articles, you would also remember what these articles are. But otherwise, these are the articles which you must know that you should know that if it is a constitutional body or not. If it was CBI, the whole thing would not call or would not attract the same kind of attention or anguish. It would not attract the similar kind of anguish. But if it is a constitutional body, it does attract. So the point over here is that a person's knowledge about Election Commission's article, universal adult franchisee, and then also the knowledge behind why universal franchisee was given and what makes it so important, right? All these things come out to be extremely important. And without that knowledge, ethical judgment or ethical analysis of the topic will be incomplete. Understood? Now from here it might be a little daunting, but do not worry, go slow, like go take your time, go at your own pace, but think over these things. Why one thing attracts more attention? ED also did a lot of things. Acha, another thing. What I am telling you, one second. What I am telling you is for you to better understand and comprehend the scope of the subject. While writing the answers, don't be as open. Unfortunately, the examination process does not promote that very much, and it is seen as you being non-neutral. But in order to understand, we need to call a spade, and that is the kind of the nature of the subject as well. If I don't call out on the things which are wrong, then for what good I would be standing over here, right? So the idea is that the knowledge base required needs to be broad, deep, fundamental understanding. The better it is, the better arguments you will produce. The higher it is, say for example, one more thing in that was that in case if there is nothing physical taken from your place, now how is it vote chori? A very simple argument. How is it vote chori? So basically for you guys, I don't think it will be difficult for you to understand. The simple idea is when I distribute 10 chocolates among 5 people, everybody gets 2 each. But now I increase the number of people to 10, whereas 5 does not exist, 5 exist. Then the number of chocolates everybody gets is 1 each. So the value received by everyone is reduced. Value reduced is the theft which has happened. It is so abstract that you cannot note it. But the idea is that if that is the case, this is how the reasoning or logic would go. Anyway, let's talk about now the temperament of the subject and what kind of temperament you would need to have. All right. Up till here, any doubts? I hope not been hated because of my open arguments. And a little bit of hate is not bad as well. Like if you have, I don't have hate. Every fact have 2 distinct opinions. Your answer is hidden in your question, Dakshika. If it is a fact, there is no opinion about it. Yeah, but had your question, if we remove the fact from there and every issue has 2 distinct opinions, it can have more than 2. It can have more than 2. Somebody would try to find out the balance. Somebody would try to work out in the gray area. Somebody would try to make the white out of it. Somebody would try to make the black out of it. So probably in contemporary times, the academia, not because I am a part of it, but would want to call it completely white, or would want to make completely white out of it. Politicians would make a part of making it more towards the darker gray side. Rest of the people juggle in between. So yes, if it is not a fact, it is an issue. People might have different opinions. But I think the hidden question that you have, Dakshika, is that then what should we believe in, what should we not? Right? That is the hidden question. So the thing is that you always go by the initial statement that you have written, go by fact. Go by fact, because वही कहते हैं ना, प्रत्यक्ष को प्रमाण कहाँ? Truth does not need proof, and it is very consistent. Nobody can change it, nobody can erase it. You take the example right from Ramayana to Mahabharata to contemporary times. For howsoever long a person might push a particular thing on you, it is truth only that wins, that comes out winning. That is why you will see people who are truthful. are always very open. They are little eccentric as well. That's a different thing. But yeah, they are very open. They are very clear about what they have to do, right? What is your neutral regarding such situations? See, ideally, that's a very deep question, Dakshika, your next question. So, should we be neutral regarding such situation? Ideally, you are expected to be neutral, and unfortunately, that is the calling of the job as well. Being civil servant, you cannot take sides, because the time you start taking sides, you are setting a precedence where people, where other civil servants or people would be guided their whims and fancies more than what it actually should be. The merit of the case takes a back seat then, and their whims and fancies start taking the front seat, the driver's seat. तो आपके लिए न्यूट्रल रहना आपकी जॉब की कॉलिंग है. मतलब आप समझ लो, अगर आप सिविल सर्वेंट बन गए हो तो आपका काम ही है पॉलिटिशियन की बात मानना. Unfortunately, that's the truth. Really, you study so hard, you become a civil servant. Let's say you got the first rank, still will be in the system the same way. First rank को ऐसा तो है नहीं डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर की बजाय कुछ और बना देंगे, राजा डिस्ट्रिक्ट का, ऐसा तो रहेगा नहीं. So even first rank will become district collector only. So at the same time, what is going to happen is, when you become a civil servant, आप जो वो बोल रहे हैं, आपका जो पॉलिटिकल मास्टर है, बिकॉज पॉलिटिकल हेड इज अल्टीमेटली द एट द हेल्म ऑफ द होल मिनिस्ट्री और द होल एग्जीक्यूटिव. सो वो मिनिस्टर आपको जो बोल रहा है आपको वही करना है. तभी एमएलए आपकी जान लिए रहते हैं. तभी एक आईएएस अगर पानी ले आती है किसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, if there is an IAS who brings water to a district, she is being transferred. That is why these things happen or not. And that you see that case online. Recently, she has been asked also of 1.63 crores in the damages. So we'll not get into the grapevine and gossip, but yes. Shiva, are you there? Yes? Yeah. All right. So you any questions, any doubts? Anju, Shiva, Dakshika? No doubts. But I hope all of you are here. All right, Anju is here. She has not slept in the library. Very good, Anju. Shiva, I was just about to doze off, but I did not. Right? No problem. Used to happen with me as well in the class. Like you guys are so bright and so. I slept once that my snoring could be heard by the lecturer. So all these things do happen. Never judge yourself on things which are normal and human, right? Anyway, so now temperament. Yes, temperament is to be discussed. It is felt that it is a very subjective paper, right? Ethics is a very subjective paper. But that's not the way we are supposed to take it practically. I will not get into deep because everything, if we go in deep, it will take a lot of time. But in case if you just have to understand it simply this way, that in case if your truth and my truth is different, though realistically it would be different in some context, but regarding the subject, close to Dakshika, what you said that on a particular issue people can have different opinion, right? So basically what you are doing over there is you are making an ethical judgment or ethical analysis. Judgment, or you can say moral analysis. So you want to basically, when you talk about this, you are talking about the rightness and wrongness of the action. Same here. Rightness and wrongness in that particular issue, or what is right, what is wrong, right? To cut it short. But what if your right and my right are different? You do not believe in being rude to someone, or let's say you do not believe in harming someone. But I believe in harming someone. And I have my own reasons to tell that yes, I can harm. So please answer in comments that whether me harming people be allowed or not. Should it be allowed or should it not be allowed? Right yes, right no, right I don't want to answer, write something. If I am harming someone, should my harming people be allowed or not? All of you, please. No, my harming is not allowed. Now I have decided who to harm first. It depends. All right. On what it depends? In general, Anju, in general, we will not go into the depth of what is the situation, because yes, you what I know understand what you are thinking of. It can be self defense and all, but in general, the question is my harming allowed or not? If let's say you are not being your ideology is that you should not harm someone, but my ideology is I should harm someone. Shiva, what is your take on that? No, it is not. Not all right. But why are you calling it not right? My simple argument is all of you said that it is not right, right? All of you said it is not right, but I am saying it is right. Why? Because your and my rights are different, plain and simple. खत्म बात. तुम्हें सही लगता है हार्म नहीं करना तो मत करो, मुझे लगता है तो मैं हार्म करूंगा. Discomforting, quite discomforting. That is why we cannot make our rights different. We have to come on the unity of moral conclusion. If moral conclusion is not unity, then there is a huge issue. Unfortunately, there are people writing in their books and other places as well that ethics is a subjective thing. But if ethics is subjective, please answer this. Then you say harming is a problem for you. I'll say killing is not a problem for me. And I'm not a soldier even. But killing is not a problem. Why? Because my and your right are different. Your and my wrong is different. You call it, you bracket it as wrong. I bracket it as right. So the temperament of the paper is quite objective and scientific in nature. It's not like our rights can be different. So when you think about something, you have to reach on unit moral conclusions, singular ethical principles, right? Having said that, it would not be easy, and you will never be able to reach at the final culmination. Only if it was so easy, the cumulative intellectual capacities of different nations would be able to decide by now whether capital punishment, euthanasia, other such things, animal rights, all such things, people would have come to unit conclusions. No, but we still debate. We still talk about it. When you reach towards the end of the chapters, you would realize that what people have said centuries back, people like Thomas Hobbes have said centuries back, is being only followed in contemporary times as unit moral conclusions under global justice. We'll not talk about that much, otherwise it might scare you. But the thing is, the idea is very simple, that we have come from there to today. Based upon what? On that effort of finding out unit moral conclusion. To understand this, you can understand it plain and simple this way. All of you are fighting for what? AIR 1 or AIR 368, 369, whatever. Is this your goal or not? No, Anju, definitely rules and regulations will come in between. Definitely rules and regulations will come in between, but it's a little more complicated than what you are thinking right now. So I think after going through the book or reading the book, that would be much clearer. But even in case if you have doubts, don't worry, we are still going to talk about the doubts, how to handle that. So it would be much clearer and better over there. All right. Rules and regulations do have a certain role to play. It is something like, Anju, we are learning addition right now. We're just learning addition right now, then we'll gradually tell that addition is not the entirety of it. We'll include subtraction, then we'll include multiplication, and then division. Probably then you will be told about the BODMAS rule. We'll further from there and probably learn about integration, differentiation and other things when we reach towards the higher understanding. All right, Anju. What was the question? Everybody is fighting for AIR1. But can you guarantee that everybody is going to get AIR1? Let's say if all of you get selected in the same year, can all of you get AIR1? Very hypothetical. Don't answer hypothetically, answer practically. If one gets the first rank, the other person would not get the first rank. Even if you think that no guarantee for everyone getting AIR1, right? So even if everybody gets equal marks, there is a particular due process that UPSC follows to decide whether your mark would be higher than the other person's or whether your rank would be higher or not. And so far as I remember, it is about the age. So if you are younger with the same marks as the topper, you will be given a second rank. So no problem, don't worry, that seldom happens. It is very improbable thing. But nevertheless, even if there is no guarantee for getting AIR 1, still everybody is putting an effort to get AIR 1, whether they tell anyone or not. But in the effort of getting AIR 1, is your preparation improving day by day or not? Even if you don't get AIR 1, your preparation is improving, which is increasing your chances of success. And why is that happening? Because you are striving for the top position. You get it or not is a different thing. There are a lot of things which are going to matter. But since you are putting the sincere and honest effort towards your examination, there is a high likelihood that you get a decent rank. And in the wake of that, your whole personality and everything will be much better. The whole progress will be not only in your preparation but also in your personality and character. Right? Similarly, we might not reach to we'll take yellow now. We might not reach to unit moral conclusions. We might not reach to unit moral conclusions, but we should endeavor for that. दक्ष का आंसर अब थोड़ा सा मिला उस चीज का कि अगर दो इश्यूज हैं तो क्या है, हो सकता है हमें जवाब ना मिले पर हमें कोशिश धक्का तो उधर ही मारना है. Not that if we know that it will be difficult to find an answer, we'll not try to find out an answer. Right? Now, another thing we'll add to the temperament of this paper, contrary to what people believe and contrary to how we think it to be, it is not a theoretical paper. It is not a theoretical paper. It is not only about the philosophies. It is not a fancy subject which tells you to talk high when you are in a group. It's not that. What UPSC envisages is not that. It's a very practical subject. It's a very practical, very realistic subject where you are able to understand and devise, or probably you endeavor for that, because if I talk that one person, even I cannot call that for myself that I have understood everything, because it's a lifetime endeavor. Things change, things grow. It's a lifetime endeavor. So when we talk about lifetime endeavor, even I am endeavoring right now to learn more. And sometimes, a lot of times I learn from you guys. A lot of time I learn from other things. The idea is, but the nature is practical. It's very realistic. And this sentiment, you could see how it translates in the examination in the case studies. Why are you given case studies? So that your real acumen could be tested. That's why I say it's practical and real. That's not the only reason. Even in the very text, the syllabus is beautifully designed. Let me tell you that. Let me admit that. And fortunately, this year's paper was also much better. Last year paper was not so good. It was more of a nonsense paper than like more of a coaching institute oriented paper. This year's paper, now again it is started picking up standards. So the idea is that you always need to remember that there is a practical bend. There is a practical bend to this examination. If you feel that this is just theory, this is just I'll go there, I'll blabber, probably I'll write about the best of the moral thinkers, I'll get marks. No, you are not going to get that. You have to be practical. Let me tell you that with an example. So again, we'll not get in detail because today it will be very heavy for you. But let's say there is a particular person and that person's name is Kant. We'll not even talk about the full name. Let's say there is a person, Immanuel Kant. Kant is the name that we are going to keep over here. He is absolute moral. He is an absolute moralist. That means he will maintain morality at all the times. So he would be right. Now, if the examination has to ask about his opinion or his understanding, they will directly ask you. They will tell you, tell about Kant. But in a case study, if you are applying, the whole world knows that what would Kant do in that situation. They're not asking about Kant. Even institutes which are giving the answers and we apply Kantian this, we apply in a real time situation, how many times have you thought about people who have influenced you? You got in a fight with somebody and it's a matter of then and there. Would you think, no, so Kant said that. I think utilitarianism said that. And some other people said about this. You don't think about that. It's as realistic as that. So case studies are given to you for a reason. Do not take moral thinkers and push them over there. The whole world knows and in fact is baffled about the great work of these people. But they have a separate section. They would be asked separately. They would be they would need their separate space in the examination, but not at all the places. In a particular case study, if they have to ask, they'll ask it clearly, right? So basically, the thing is that when you talk about temperament, you have to do, there are two things, objectivity, one, and second, very practical nature of the paper. It is way beyond theory. It is way beyond theory. It applies in practice. It's not something which you can keep outside, right? So I hope up till here, if anybody has any doubt, please tell me. So we would have discussed by now. We have discussed nature, knowledge, mindset, temperament. Right? This we have discussed. Any doubts up till here? No? Anju, other people I can see, but please type in the comment if you have doubt. No. All right. So shall we move forward? That means yes. I'll take a yes. Now how to read Ethica? All right. So one thing which I would like to tell, not because I have written it, but this is the first book written on ethics where everything is coherent, where everything you can understand. Because I've tried to explain every single concept in elaboration. It's not only about bringing up the content together and giving it to you. It's about understanding every single concept. And over there is a lot that matters. When I say there is a lot that matters, it's not welcome, Ritika. I think somebody new has joined the session. So the idea is not this that only I give you the statements, I give you the concept, I take the definition down from somewhere, and then you are able to understand. It won't happen that way. Even means we can be absolute in any issue or we can't be. We must be open to other dimensions to the issue as well. No, it's not about not being absolute, but your question has answer in itself, but we need to endeavor or strive for that. If we are saying that we can't be absolute in any issue or opinion, yes, you cannot be, but you have to strive for that absoluteness. It will never come. It will never come because growth is the part of human nature, right? So it is never going to reach, but no, Anju, you'll get it. You will get it as a part of the course itself. So it will be never absolute, but at the same time, you should be, when you are open to other dimensions, you are anyway never going to be absolute, but you are striving for AIR1. ये रही दिख रही है नहीं दिख रही तो देख लो you are striving for AIR1 but otherwise yes right understood all right so now again I'll tell you a bit about the book so that you are better able to comprehend it. I've made it in a layered format. So what is a layered format? It opens up gradually. It's not that you start reading and it starts bombarding concepts at you. It starts throwing big names. It starts talking about eudaimonia and it starts talking about consequentialism. It starts talking about other such concepts. It does not do that. It starts with very simple. I'll just read an initial chapter's content so that you are able to understand what kind of approach has been taken. Initially, we just talk about what is ethics. That's the first thing where it opens up. Please read the preface as well. That will give you a connection to the book. What is ethics? The fundamental, the subject matter. The second is why ethics, which talks about the fundamental question. Then we talk about how ethics, the process way to be ethical. Then we talk about the aim of ethics, right? Which takes over, which ethics are we talking about when we talk about over here? Then what is the aim of this ethics? So we reach to a rule. And then we talk about ethics or morality, the difference. So we are unfolding one thing, and the complexity, yes, increases if you try reading the last page at first, you won't be able to understand. But if you're reading it in a sequence, you'll be completely able to understand. And then the other things which are important, and it is completely according to the syllabus. It is completely according to the syllabus. You can also see it online. Amazon, you can see ethics is a science or art. The essence determines consequences of ethics in human actions, and other such things are there, right? Case studies and other things are integrated in the text. So please don't tell after reading the book that you have not gotten any case study. It is not written separately that it is a case study. A lot of case studies are given, but they are integrated. And the reason is my idea was that you should be able to develop the whole understanding. Otherwise, there is no book which explains that. There is nowhere where you can actually get the whole meaning of the thing, because case studies are given separately, questions are given separately. Don't think in terms of questions and answers, but think in terms of questioning yourself, which has been given. Every single thing has been written in the book. Every single thing is written in the book. So you have to just keep your mind open while reading it, in short. Keep your mind open. Questions are hidden in that. It has the examples as new as Samarana and that Radveer Allahabadia's case that happened, dark joke one. It also has about Pooja Khedkar. It also has about IPS Safir Karim. It also talks about the Deepika Padukone Bikini case and what kind of absurd arguments given on that. So it has all those. It would have an Armstrong example as well. It would have other examples as well, and everything is covered in detail. So the idea is that it is written because over last so many years, like more than 10 years now, when I've been teaching, the lot of experiences that I have gotten through all my students, all wonderful students that I had, has given me also an idea about where the confusions would arise. So considering all that this book is written. So you just have to keep your mind open while reading it, and you have to, be with the book. Don't think about anything else that time. नॉवल पढ़ते हैं ना, वैसे पढ़ लो, उठाओ, पढ़ो, सोचो, जो लिखना है वो लिखो. पहली बार में नहीं भी लिखना है तो मत लिखो, दूसरी बार में भले लिख लो या मार्क करो. First time you just read it with open mind. Your brain should be open. That's the most fundamental thing. It is going to make you think, and that you can translate into your paper as well. All right. So that's how you can go for this book. Read this book. In case if anybody has any doubt, please ask. Otherwise, we'll move forward and talk about the most important part, which probably everybody is waiting for. बोले सर बाकी बात बाद में करना, पहले without doubt कैसे क्लियर होंगे. I am waiting for your responses. That's why I'm not speaking. Any doubts up till here? Or if you have to ask anything regarding the book, you can ask here. Yes. Not reference book. You read it from starting alpha to omega. It is going to be in time to come, it is going to be the basic book for ethics. Let me tell it to you on record. Reference book, basic book, everything. If you find anywhere, if there is a topic where you find there is a discourse which you are uncomfortable with, you will find it in this book, and whatever is written is being quoted as well from here. The complete fundamental from basic book to ethics. Yes, from basic to reference to everything that you need. For answer writing, I am planning to write a book so that it better complements it. A lot of my students said that you should be taking it in this itself, but that's not what I wanted. Because this should tell only about ethics, then the answer writing we can do separate. Anyway, so shall we move forward? Shiva, where are you? Don't go anywhere. Remain here, okay? Yes. How will we read along and write the answers? Huh? You don't have to read along and write the answers at the same time. You first read this, then you understand this first. You don't have to write the answers at the same time. You keep this as separate for your complete understanding. All right. And to be honest, I have not understood the whole question, but I think I am able to answer that. Anju, is your doubt clear? Or do you need more input on that? Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. That Shekhu sir and other people will take care of. All right, don't worry about that. All right, now let's come to the section doubts. Now, when we talk about doubts, first thing you must remember is, now it will again be very counterintuitive, but since this is an ethics session and this is an ethics class, I don't want you to ask your doubts to anyone. ऐसा तो नहीं सर पत्थर मार देंगे फालतू बात मत करो. The thing is, see, a very important part of this particular paper is brain churning. The more you are getting your things cleared directly, the less your analysis will grow. Right? So the first thing is you have to churn your brain so much, you have to think about so much that you tire yourself. In case if you are not doing that, then you are not being true to yourself. See, background, there is every support which is there and you will be getting it, but that should not be the first recourse. Think about it this way, you already have a help center right on the top of your head. If you are getting everything ready, would you be able to answer? Let's imagine you when you were kids, when you were learning A, B, C, D. If you were not made to say it and everybody told you this is A, this is A, this is A, maybe you would not have learned other things. The thing is, don't reach to the solution directly. You have that. Exploit it. Use it the best way. No problem. But first make your brain work. Push yourself. Push yourself harder than what you want to. Push yourself harder than what can tire you. So once you are in that mental frame, you already reach at a higher place. And then when you have a doubt, ask your mentors. Because now you are asking a higher level doubt. You're not asking the basic doubts. Now you're asking a higher level doubt. Even mentors would be challenged. And sometimes you challenge me as well. Because it's very nice to have beautiful questions. And that can happen only when higher order reasoning is happening. And that would happen when we start pushing this. Right? So the thing is, first step is don't ask your doubts to anyone. Try to resolve it on your own. When you are stuck up completely, then reach out to your mentors. If it is not clear even there, or there are certain doubts which are clear, but still you feel kind of a fog around those things. If you're feeling that, then you note those doubts down. Okay. Note the ones which are keeping you confused or which probably are making you get stuck on a particular position, on a particular place, like you are not able to move forward with that because that is troubling you very much, right? Such kind of questions you note it down, and whenever we have live session, please ask it over there, right? Please try to ask that every such thing in live what do you say, session whenever we have, so that you get your answer then and there. So so there are 3 steps to that. Number 1, don't ask the doubts. Why not ask the doubts? Because we don't want to answer? No. Because we want you to work. We want to push you to think. Otherwise you'll get model answers, but you'll never be able to write a good answer. The first thing is to push. The same thing I always say. We can discuss about it. I'll talk to Amit sir as well, Shekhu sir. Let's see, we'll try that. So, because I keep moving, I keep traveling, so it sometimes becomes difficult. But we'll see, don't worry. Right? So, where were we? So, the step 1 is don't ask your doubt. Because you are churning, we have to push you. Same thing I say for model answers. Don't look at model answers and write. Model answers are merely models. They're good to see. Not to be with, very irritating. Can't write like that. Write good answers. So go first write answer, get it evaluated, and then when you are stuck, only look at model answer. You're getting everything, right? It's not that you're not getting everything, but let's move about it the right way. So first thing, you're not asking doubts, but why? Because you're churning yourself. When you get stuck up, that's a place where the mentors would come in picture. And when things, even if every doubt is being cleared by mentors, even then we'll have a live session. So don't worry, live or offline, whatever it is, but don't worry about it. But the idea is that you first don't ask, and then note down. All right. So those are the three things which are there. So I hope that was helpful. And please, was it helpful or not? Just write yes, no. Sir, we don't want to answer. Whatever you want to write. Or any doubts if you have, you can ask now and then we'll. Anju, any doubts? No? Shiva, Anju, same person or different person? Shiva, any doubts? No. Dakshika? Achha, yes, very helpful. All right. Yeah, the subject is indeed interesting. The only thing is that we sometimes, uh, you know, get into the theory more than how it really helps us. All right. So it was very nice having all of you. I think nobody has doubts. It was very nice having you all and very wonderful session because of you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Anju. So then I'll say bye bye. We'll meet next time.